Hey, everybody, I wanted to put this at the top of the episode. You're going to love this week. It's a great guest, someone we've talked about and alluded to on the podcast several times. He's in now as a guest. Please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Tell your friends about it. Tell anybody you can about it. It really goes a long way. Also, I am now on Patreon, patreon.com/Brennan Tassif. You can subscribe there. You'll get the episodes early. You'll get a bonus episode. And also, if you subscribe to the top tier for 6 months, you will become an official drinking buddy of mine. And we'll have you on the podcast. We'll do a mini ex-drinking buddy episode with you. So thank you again for everybody who listens. I really appreciate it and enjoy this week's episode. This is a professional operation, Christopher.
It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. I think people, you're going to expect me to be a different kind of podcast guest than,
That's why I've been delaying having you on, because I thought you were going to be a very difficult podcast guest.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm being it.
We talk about it. You are literally one of the main topics of the show.
Yeah.
And there's a reason you haven't been on yet. I even told your girlfriend, I was like, I just think he's going to try and take it in a bunch of different directions. She's like, well, Chris is Chris.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not doing it on purpose.
I know you're not. All right, here we go. For real this time.
Yeah.
All this is staying in.
You didn't start already?
No. I mean, I've been recording this whole time, but
okay.
I haven't actually done the intro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you can lead it. You can drop that in anything in whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But I always like to do the intro with the guest here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brandon T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brandon Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Tassif is your ex drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. Quick rundown of the show if you are new to the show. I am sober now, but one of my favorite things to do when I was out drinking and partying and getting in trouble was to hang out with friends, talk shit, talk shop, share stories, and that is still one of my favorite things to do to this day. I will normally always be joined by a guest. Every once in a while I will do a solo show, but today we have a very special, important hero guest. You've heard about him on this show plenty of times. He is the topic of many discussions when it comes to Jacksonville comedy. The godfather of Jacksonville comedy. Him and Jake Head. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Buck.
This is the worst podcast I've ever been on. I want you to know that off the start. Let's get it out of the way.
How many podcasts have you been on, Chris?
2. I think 2.
2?
Maybe.
Have you really?
I don't think very many. I don't know. I'm a downer, man.
You can't be.
I'm a bummer.
I love how we checked the mic for like 10 minutes, and then as soon as we start, you like got right up on it.
Look, I have to pretend to be professional.
You are very professional. Yeah. So, Chris.
Yeah.
You are, a lot of the listeners know you because you have been brought up in a lot of different stories between Trevor talking about the Kyle Kinane incident, Full Charge and I talked about you, booking Rain Dogs. Go ahead. Well, first, plug everything up front. Where can people find Chris Buck?
In a mask at home, dodging COVID.
You're vaccinated now, though, right?
I'm vaccinated 1 shot.
Okay. Waiting on 2 shot.
Yeah, waiting on number 2.
When do you get number 2?
21st.
All right. Rock and roll.
And I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's pretending.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to pretend that we're vaccinated.
Okay.
I believed it at first.
Yeah.
And now the way they're talking about it, when they're just like, everybody can get vaccinated. Like in 10 days, it's a free-for-all.
Everyone's, yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know if these are real shots. I feel like these are placebo shots now.
It just went from 0 to now everyone can get vaccinated.
And they're vaccinated at weird places now. It's getting like more loose.
Yeah.
They're just like Winn-Dixie parking lot out front. Like, you're like, what? Like where they're signing petitions and then bake sales and,
Get your vax.
school car washes
Yeah.
or whatever, and they're like hitting you with the shot outside. Yeah. So I don't know. That's but other than that, on the podcast, I did listen to some episodes of your podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
It's awkward for anybody listening, by the way, so you know what this looks like, right? Brendan just sits across from you,
Yeah.
and stares into your eyes.
We're
I just
having a
want you to
fun, we're
understand. Yeah,
talking.
yeah. I mean, you could be like, "Oh, it's fun. It's a big party," right? No, it's not. There's an ironing board in this room.
Doxima Studio. Look at the bookshelf,
is,
man.
Is this visual? Is there where we have camera work?
No, I don't do the
No?
camera thing yet.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
need
good.
to though, but
Well, yeah. That's good. It's good.
so do you have any dates coming up?
No. I mean, what can I possibly have?
I know. I don't know. You're a
What
very
is-
prolific comedian.
There's nothing even
You've
the
toured
listen,
across the entire
listen,
country.
Listen, the people that are performing right now, okay, there's two groups, okay? There's people that got famous enough to where they just hit a stride and they can't waste it.
Yeah.
So they're like, I got it. They're killing it. You know what I mean? Those guys are like awesome. What is it, Andrew Schultz?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
or whatever. You know, I mean, he's, whatever. But then there are a bunch of hacks left over, like old 80s hacks and whatever, and they just can't stop.
Because they can't afford to stop.
Or, yeah, that or psychological. Either way, you know what I mean? They forced it. And then everybody else is lost. There's a bunch of open micers that never had shows.
Yeah.
Trying to get shows when everybody else is like not getting booked.
Yeah.
Then, there's people being smart. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just worked other jobs. I just worked side jobs as it is. That's
Well,
what I did.
you were already doing that before.
Yeah. And now just taking advantage of being a bum.
Well, for those of you listening who don't know Chris is a very interesting story because you haven't. I think it's interesting. You haven't always done comedy.
What does that mean?
Well, so like a lot of people who come on the show, it was, comedy was my passion. I started doing comedy when I was in my early 20s. I've always wanted to do comedy. But from the little that I do know about you, you were doing music far before you were doing comedy.
Okay, so I haven't always done comedy, which is true, 100% true.
Yeah.
But then you think the other people have?
No, but I think...
Everybody's life starts at like age 21.
No. You
They're
know what
like,
I'm saying.
My whole life's dedicated to this.
A lot of people
I fell in
who-
love for the first time a year ago. Now I'm a stand-up comic and for life.
But for
like
a lot
that.
of people who are in your position, because you have toured around the entire country with very big comics, you roll your eyes, but you have.
What? What?
You've done a lot in comedy, but if I'm not mistaken, you started fairly late compared to what some other people
Yeah, I
do.
started like the latest. I started super late.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why can't you just be like, yeah, that's a good point, Brennan. Here's what happened. Why are you going to be so difficult?
Listen, you're not inaccurate about me. You're being factual. You're
Yes.
correct.
I am.
Right?
I am.
100%.
I'm a very good host.
But the implication when you say those things makes an implication about other people and how they're doing it. And I don't agree with the assessments.
Okay.
I don't agree. When and they're like, "Oh, he started off and he was a prodigy this way," or this other person. I was like, "That I don't
You don't
follow
buy
in.
that?
Yeah. I don't,
Well,
it's
no, and I'm not saying I just want to focus on you.
just- okay.
Let's talk about Chris Buck.
Okay. I mean,
So what
sure.
what did you like in high school? Were you into music? Were you in the band? Did you just like performing? Like how did that work?
Now, see what
Because you
you've
weren't
done.
always this.
Now, what you've done is you've opened a can of worms, right? So since I started old, right, then I've got a lot of shit,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
so
I'm
you go,
interested because I've known you for almost a decade, but the Chris Buck I've always known is the beard, the
Yeah.
shaved head, the
all right.
on stage.
So in 7th grade, I started listening to Rush,
Okay.
and I was skateboarding, right?
You skateboarded?
Yeah.
Get the
I
fuck
was
outta here.
skating, I used to skate at Kona Skate Park.
Really?
Yeah. the
Conan
first-
was around in the 70s?
It's Kona's the first park.
See what I did there?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I was born in the 70s, so I didn't take that as any kind of.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was accurate.
Yeah,
You weren't-
okay.
You were trying to exaggerate. I'm going,
yeah,
like,
it
okay. Yeah, it was right.
Nobody ever really knows how old Chris Buck actually is.
I didn't go to Kona in the 70s, though. I skated in the 80s.
So you started listening to Rush. You were skateboarding. You got into music.
Yeah. Yeah, I got him. Yeah. Music. I was tone deaf. I couldn't play anything. I sucked.
Because you're pretty good now.
No, I don't know about all that.
You're pretty good. I'm not saying you're the greatest, drummer I've ever seen, but you're good.
I don't know if you've seen the world now, but there are like 4-year-olds on Instagram that'll
Yeah,
just
that's
out
true.
shred anybody. So I don't know what means anything anymore. Nothing means anything to me
At all.
anymore. So
There's TikTokers with fucking 10 million followers.
yeah, man, it's ridiculous. It's and I mean, I've lost my place.
Yeah.
My understanding of value
Okay.
of these things. So like when you bring them up, like when I seem nihilistic about it, yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. That's exactly.
I'm not fucking with you
Yeah.
at all. Like I'm literally, that's how I feel. Where I'm like, I don't know if it mattered. Like what? Maybe that did happen that way. I guess you could look at it that way.
Yeah.
There's a subjective view of how, that's. I mean, I feel that way about everything.
Well, it's very bizarre because when it comes to comedy, I know I've seen your notebook, not even notebook, your manifesto, as it were.
Yeah.
You're
jumping way ahead. All right, so I was doing.
Yeah.
I was working on kickflip, and
Okay.
I was
Working
trying
on
to
kick-
skate.
back- we're back in
Look,
seventh
you
grade.
started this.
I know. No, I'm.
You
I'm
opened this
interested.
can of worms.
I don't want us to get too far off track. I want to try and steer the ship. So kickflip, 7th grade, rush, go.
Yeah, so I skateboarded, and then I quit. I quit skateboarding to join the debate team.
Okay. This is still in middle school?
Middle into high.
Okay.
So I maybe skated till 9th grade, and then I joined the debate.
That's
the
a
debate
weird
team.
That's a weird jump.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because
It's
most of the
absolutely
time.
absurd. Yeah, most of the time you would quit something nerdy to go do something not
Cool,
nerdy
yeah.
at the time, if you had the option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I literally gave up what was definitely like cooler at one point, and then was like, "Fuck this! I'm born to do this
To
debate
argue.
team shit." Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and then I did that for a long time, and that's how I got my education, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would
You got
say.
a scholarship for the debate team?
I wouldn't say that. I meant in high school you go to the same class, so it's like 4 years of the same class,
Okay.
which you don't do in anything else,
Yeah.
right? I mean, band or Spanish or something like that. If you take 1, 2, 3, 4 years of something, right? But we went to the same room, like the same teacher taught all the levels,
Yeah.
and all those levels was small enough of a class to where they were all in the same room. So the debate 1 people would be in the class with the debate 2 people. They just work on their own stuff.
Yeah.
So there was no thing to do other than your research. So you'd research. So for 4 years, I did independent research
Oh, wow.
on the things that I wanted to do. And so in high school, I would just go to the library at UNF.
Oh, really?
I'd be in like 9th grade, and I'd be
Yeah.
at the library at UNF pulling government docs.
Were you taking you were obviously taking other high school classes, though,
Yeah,
weren't you?
failing them, doing horrible.
Oh, really?
C's. C's. I'm a C
C's at
student.
best?
Yeah, I'm a C student right across
But
the board.
debate, you like jumped into.
Yeah, I was all into it, as hard as I could possibly be.
Yeah.
So I was like researching all kinds of things that were beyond me, right? As a matter of fact, this is not interesting to anybody. This is difficult to keep track of. This is just some shit I did.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it interesting.
No, but go
So
ahead.
you have
This
to
is
keep-
interesting.
You can keep track of that if you want, but I just these topics, or better yet, things that happened while Trump was president are things that we debated specifically. So like Space Force
Yeah.
was something we proposed.
Oh, really? That was
Yeah.
something that you've been talking
Yeah.
about for.
So like mining the moon for like helium-3, like a helium isotope, like we're building a lunar base for mining helium-3 is like this different energy source. That was like something we proposed. These are all like almost like stock proposals in the history of legislation,
Yeah.
right? Like there'd be like a responsible national health insurance, like an independent tax credit where you take away the employer-based subsidy for healthcare at the job,
Yeah.
and then you just get it on your own.
Yeah. And then
That
you
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like a Heritage Foundation plan. It's some like general conservative Republican think tank that puts out all this is what they ideal.
This is
world.
all they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're kids. We're going, let's take that, and then we'll propose that. Today will be that.
That will be what we do in debate today.
Yeah. So on the topic, I will propose that we do that. You know what I mean? And we had plans and evidence and the government documents, all things. But a lot of them were like throwaways. A lot of them are things they propose, but you're like, this is absurd. We're not going to do this. This is insane, you know? Or it would cause ridiculous amounts of things. You ever hear when there's a bill and it'll be like Rand Paul or somebody proposing a bill that we just like eliminate all military bases or something, you know, and you're like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Like, that's unrealistic.
It's not going to happen. But we would just go ahead and theoretically debate these things.
Okay.
We would, as real proposals through the years.
And you took them real serious. Like you were.
Oh, well, we were very invested in them, but I'm just pointing out that Trump doesn't have real policies or didn't have real policies. So he would be like, give me whatever your stock think tank bullshit is. And he'll pick from it for what puts on a good show. Well, that's what we were doing. Yeah. We were trying to pick, like, what's the coolest kids case, you know, whatever's, some nuclear war stuff. Oh, we can nuke a hurricane. We were thinking like that. Yeah. You know? So, like, that's just how we did everything. That's how we made policies, and I mean, I would say
that your thinking then was the same as the president now.
Yeah, tons of them. Like a lot of them happened. Like the events actually occurred. You know, and it's great. It was really
when you were watching it in real time. Now, like fast forward to Trump's president, and these things are happening. Where you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but it was exactly as it should be. It was what we said. Yeah, and then it did. So
and then it happened.
Yeah. And we actually, I don't know if anybody knows anything about this policy debate. It's not like brain brawl. It's literal policies, like legislation that you would propose. Yeah. So you would literally fake it as if you were proposing it, you know, and you would build up the whole plan. And we made everything. Then you would exaggerate the shit out of it. You would be like, oh, you can't do that because it's gonna this spending is gonna cause this national default on all our national debt, and it's gonna cause nuclear war because it'll do everything leads to nuclear war. Yeah, right. And we would push these ridiculous, narratives, and then you grow up, college, you can move on, whatever, and your brain goes, we were just exaggerating a lot. And then you go, this is not really real. We proposed a lot of stuff that didn't seem quite real. And then when he did it, it was like, those were the things we proposed.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, and it happened that way. Like all the trade war stuff, all the tariffs and the protectionism stuff was all stuff. Like we were involved, I mean, it was all regular for us. It was every day, and we had a file on all of it. We had every policy that he would propose. We were like all over that.
That's bananas.
It was nuts. I mean, I can't even. It's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming to try to remember.
Just you sitting here now, like looking off in the distance, thinking about it says all it needs to say.
Now it's like I really would love to go through the individual things, but it's like trying to remember something that's entertaining that he did, obviously. But I mean, he would just go. He tried to remove birthright citizenship. Yeah, he said he could. He would have had to pass an amendment over, amend the Constitution, but he thought he could do it with an executive order.
Really?
Yeah. And we would, when you do a debate thing, you presume that you could.
Okay.
It's like fiat power, you would say. It's like we presume, so we have the power to pass what we say. So we would do that. We would do the thing that he cannot do. Yeah. But we would do it. Yeah. And then we would debate it as if we did it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
And the rest of the government knows you can't. So they don't. And they don't even come to debate it. Yeah. But he did. He was like, I can.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like, you can't do that. And they're like, watch me. I'll do it right now.
Yeah. And he did enough to make it look like he was doing it to where they'd have to cut a news story or a debate or some shit, and then somebody else would have to come out and comment on it. So he caused our debates that we already had to occur. He caused things to occur that nobody would debate because you'd be like, that's absurd.
That's impossible. Yeah. There's no way in hell that's going to happen.
So he caused it even if he wasn't passing the legislation. He just caused it, he'd be like, oh, okay, that's great.
I guess we're talking about this now.
Yeah. I think the arms deal stuff, the Jamal Khashoggi cover up stuff, like where there's like a journalist getting dismembered. Yeah. And then we like try to cover up. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing it,
We're doing it. So what happens? You do debate all through high school.
Oh yeah. High school, yeah, into college, and then but I didn't go to college for I went to UNF, and UNF didn't have a debate team,
Okay.
but they had a communications department, and they didn't know what it was. So it's kind of like it's an activity. It's just an independent kind of activity. You have to have a coach or you have to have a team. There's like leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were, it's like if it was going to school was going to have a breakdancing teacher or a skateboarding coach. It's like you have to have somebody that does it.
Yeah.
You know. So you couldn't in the communications department. Of course they have a journalism department. Of course they have broadcasting. But they didn't. They have English and they have. You know what I mean. They have. You know.
Arts and letters, all that stuff.
Yeah, but they didn't have. They don't have the debate thing unless they have a competitive debate coach teaching that stuff. So they didn't.
In walks Chris Buck.
No. Well, I mean, I would have, but I'd have to start a whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going.
I thought you were going to say. Well, I went to JU and they had a team, and they had money, and they were like, you know what, we can't get you a scholarship over here, but we looked up the rules, and you can do like cross collegiate participation. So you just want to just be UNF's debate team, and we'll just run a split team between one of you.
Oh, so like you, and then you joined their squad, basically.
Yeah. So I was UNF's debate team when they didn't know that they had a debate team.
Wow.
So JU would just pay for me to travel with them, and we'd just go around the country doing tournaments where I'm just participating with them.
But as the UNF
debate team.
That's hilarious.
And I think they might actually have one now, but they have no idea that I ever did that. And they were for like 3 years. Like, went to Mardi Gras doing that. Went to, on a free trip, you know, and so it was cool. It was fine. That was easy though, because the circuit we were operating on was not like
the cream of the crop.
Yeah, so I'd already done harder stuff, sort of in the high school level.
Yeah,
on that particular. So that was fun.
What would you do after that?
Yeah.
So you go to UNF, and then do you finish school? Because you majored in political science.
Yeah, I got
right?
a political science degree. You know,
You're doing about as much as it.
That's what you got, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got a particular area or anything?
Yeah. So I majored in political science, and my emphasis was on foreign affairs, and then I minored in American history, and the emphasis was on the Civil War. Hence all the McPherson in the bookshelf.
Okay, that's pretty close. I'm pretty close to that. I have a minor in history and a split. I would say I split the degree between constitutional law and international studies.
Okay.
And
yeah, I was real big because my grandmother and grandfather on my father's side are from Yugoslavia before it got split up and everything. Mm-hmm. So the Balkans, that whole area really interested me for a long time. So when I was in school, that's what I really focused on.
Yeah, I was civilian military relations.
Yeah,
in terms of like government power.
Yeah,
and South Africa and Indonesia, and then all of those things changed like completely.
Yeah,
overhauled entirely, and everything I researched was obsolete,
just gone
instantaneously.
Yeah,
like completely. I knew nothing, and I did so much work.
Well, it's weird how that works because there's certain things now where things get brought up, like, you know, we'll be sitting with comics outside of Rain Dogs or something, and then something gets brought up, and I'm like, oh, I know a lot about this topic, and then I start talking, and they're like, that's not how it is, and I'm like, wait, what? When I never got the memo, like, this is all changed.
Yeah, like what would you think?
So like everyone's always talking about like politics and stuff, and then I've always been a big believer that, you know, socialism is an economic device. It's not a.
Hey, Brennan's podcast audience, just want to check in with you. I'm doing this on purpose to keep him from talking about comedy. I don't know if this is interesting. All right, but we're slowing down.
Why would you slowing
down his comedy talk? All right.
Why? You don't like the comedy talk?
It, you know, we'll get to the boozing if we can soon. I don't know if that's a big part of your audience.
That's the only part of the show
they care about. That your audience
everyone. People tell me all the time. They're always just like, yeah, you know, love the show, love the stories, but you just talk about comedy so much.
Yeah. Okay, so we're majoring in political science.
No.
I'm doing some debating. All right, listen, everybody. While I was majoring in political science, just boozing out the ass. I mean, I was so
every day. Were you
so
really
drunk? No,
I was gonna say because you don't drink now.
No.
Do you ever drink, or do you just?
No, I'm not a pussy. I live life on my own. I'm tough. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
No, but yeah,
Fight the good fight. You know. You know.
I didn't know if that was a conscious choice or you just didn't like to drink
I'm gonna
or.
cry about it like you addicts. You know, just boozing and whining all the time.
Just always
Right.
crying about it, man.
Yeah, you know. I mean, we can get back to shitting on them later.
What happened though? I'm interested to know what happened. I'm very interested to know what happened to you after college because you obviously didn't go, hey, I want to do a performative thing. You obviously weren't like, hey, I want to do comedy or I want to do music, or did you say that?
No, I was a teacher.
Okay.
I wanted to be, you know, I want to be president. Oh, I want to be a senator. Oh, I want to be a house member. Oh, I want to be in a think tank. Oh, I want to be whatever. I was basically moving down every time you realize that none of those things were good and offered anything in good faith to the world, and realize that all of those things are corrupted top to bottom.
Yeah.
Right. And then every time I would realize that, I would backpedal one spot.
So you just kept.
Yeah, until all the dreams are broken, until all the belief and faith in humanity
It's just gone.
Yeah, so you'd be like, if your parents were like, oh, I want you to be, you're gonna be a priest, and then you're like, well, they're fucking kids. Well, I guess I'll be a this, and I guess I'll be a that, and you keep moving, and all of a sudden, and then the only thing you can do is be some kind of like
janitor
Buddhist monk that, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. That's it. That's all you can do is be like good on your own, and not like that's it. And so as I whittled through it, that got me down through everything, back down to teacher. And
what'd you teach? High school?
History. Yeah, high school.
High school?
Yeah. And
God, I cannot imagine like a 20-something-year-old Chris Buck teaching.
I mean, I subbed for a
Children.
few years. I
Okay.
subbed for trying to get a job at a place, and that was a nightmare. Trying to get the job, not the subbing. But then I taught I just taught for 1 year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I subbed for like probably 3 years, and I did some temp. You know, I felt like I even taught like short stints filling in for a teacher that was like sick. Like long-term sick. And then I, taught for a year, but that year was all it took to show me that there's no administrative support. Like it's trash.
Yeah.
Like it's complete. It's the same as any other abusive job, just stealing the souls of those teachers. I mean, all the people that work there are unbelievable. I mean, the people that are dedicated to that, to teaching, are amazing. And there was just no support. And I'd already taught other things that I teach like a college professor or somebody who the people in the class have to want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm there to teach the thing.
Yeah.
Not
I've had
to
a few
take
professors
care.
like that. And those are actually my favorite professors. It's like, I'm not here to babysit you. I'm not here to take attendance. Like, we're going to go over the thing, and then we're going to get tested on the thing. And that's what we're doing.
Them telling you. But
Yeah.
I actually, more than that, need them to actually want to. So that's them telling you to try to, you need to be a person who wants to be here. But I actually mean, there's no point in you being here unless you already want to be here.
Did you have any students that year that wanted to be there?
All my music students and all my swing dance students. Those are the things I taught where people wanted to do them.
Yeah.
Like nobody's doing those things unless.
But I'm curious. In your history class, did you have?
Oh, in high school?
Yeah.
I mean, it's high school. They don't even ask you.
No, I know.
Kids, do you want to go to the? How about you go to the fucking class? Kids?
What I'm saying.
How about you go here's we're gonna set up a rigged bell that tells you automatically. We don't want to think about it.
They
build schools like prisons. They're built like prisons. Like
I've been in both, so I'm very aware.
There's no.
But when you were teaching,
I understand
history. Were you like, wow, this kid
was
gets
I able to trick them temporarily into believing for a moment in the pile of bullshit? Sure, of course. I was also teaching English second language courses
at the same school.
Yeah.
Oh god.
No, not at the same classes.
Oh,
they don't go, hey, come over here and teach English. English second language courses are like those kids are taking English, right?
Yeah.
But they have to go to the other class. They can't wait till they learn English. They can't come over here in seventh grade.
Saying,
So that's how they don't know what to do with them. Like the entire, I don't mean they don't, like they do not have a solution because they can't wait till they learn the language because they're like,
so they just put you in.
Years. They do it both. So they'll have sometimes they'll have translators in the class or they just want, there's no translator, they're just getting exposure, so that's
just
helping
feel
them.
it out.
Yeah. But then you're trying to. Depends what you want to teach about. If you want to teach about things that don't translate, don't translate is a weird way to say, but like for instance, you're saying Civil War,
Yeah.
right? I'm saying constitutional law. You can teach constitutional law to people, and people, if they just don't understand the concept of what's happening, like basically, if you were to, you go to court, you're fighting over some money, small claims court, or something like that, right? I was like, that's not what the Supreme Court does.
Yeah.
Supreme Court's doing philosophically with regard to, you know what I mean, the constitutional
Yeah.
law, the law over the law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the way it's set up.
Almost as if it was supreme.
Yes, exactly. As if it was the supreme
Comedy.
So it's like when you go to teach something like that, to the kids that are just trying to figure out, the language.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're moving into, you don't start teaching philosophy.
Philosophical.
Yeah, you don't start philosophy as how you teach the language. That's so you're a good example of this. In terms of the confusion, would be that I did not like that to begin with. I didn't have any business doing that. It wasn't for me. That's not what my entire motivation on getting the whole degree that I got was to be about the topic, to be about the subject, to be about the thing that I learned about, so that I could then teach to the best of my ability the thing that I learned about.
Yeah.
Right. And these people, there's this daycare, and there's
That's
this
all it
English
was.
second language, and so you're just not teaching what you want to teach. And they'd be like, oh, you're just to contribute, and you're just to get that's whatever. That's for somebody else. That's not what I was into it for, right? So immediately I'm like, well, this sucks. The education system is not. I was like, you're not doing what you should be doing.
Yeah. It's
Because I
designed
just
to-
learned all the stuff you told me to learn. I went and got the degree you told me to get. I took the courses you told me to get. But they're like, what do you want to do? I want to teach these things. Well, you should take these courses. Then this are the courses I take because you said that's what you need to teach.
Yeah.
So
I did
it.
everything you told me
Yeah.
to do.
And then you go to the job, and it has nothing to do with.
It's
has
not.
nothing-
Yeah.
It's like.
It's like, hey, I'm glad you did all that stuff. Now, can you babysit all these 30 kids for a few hours?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, another thing that doesn't look like what it is, and whatever. I guess it's a hustle of some sort. I don't know. And so the best example though of not translating is as a there was videos, you show a video in class, right?
Yeah.
So it was my theory that if the video was in the library, then you couldn't get in trouble for showing it. It's the school library, right? So
Yeah, I'm tracking with you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
yeah, and then that's not, and they're right. But I'm saying the library had Monty Python and the Holy Grail in it for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, Search for the Holy Grail, or a Quest for the Holy Grail, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hell yeah! I mean, of course, we're watching that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that's so throw that in, and the language barrier, like British comedy is already something that has to, you have to
Understand,
figure out how to grasp in America, whatever. And showed it, and I might as well just showed a straight documentary on King Arthur as far as I was concerned. And no fucking idea it was a comedy or anything.
None
It
of it
meant
translated?
nothing. And I was like, this should tell somebody that there's a problem here.
Yeah.
In
Absolutely.
that something's not getting through.
Yeah.
If this is not getting through in the way that it doesn't, then whole tons of things, philosophical things, comedic things are not getting through.
Yeah, basically all of art.
Yeah, anything that's but they could get through somehow, but not in the way this is happening.
Yeah.
Not in the structure that I'm teaching in. And so I did that for a year, and then I went about teaching stuff that I like.
So you just decided you left the school, and then you're like, I'm good at these things. I'll teach these things.
Yeah, kind
That's-
of. Yeah.
That's just, it's odd to me that you, like you said, you went out and you did everything they asked you to do. You got the degrees they told you to get. You took the classes. You did all this work. And then after a year, you're like, nah, I'm going to go do music.
I mean, I don't know that I had much of a choice. You have a political science degree. I don't know if you've seen the choices they offered you.
I'm very aware.
So it feels more like they told you.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not going to be doing this. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. Yeah.
So, and there's
So had you been doing music this whole time too?
I had been doing some version.
Like, did you take classes as a kid?
I think what
or?
came next. I think what came next was in college at some point. I was 22, maybe. I started swing dancing. like Lindy Hop and Charleston and all that stuff.
Why did you pick up? That
was like a fad. It was like a fad.
Okay.
It was like a thing, you know. It came that neo swing kind of.
Okay.
The whole like those bands, those Big Bad Voodoo Daddy band, whatever.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I'm gonna pretend like I know what you're talking about. But...
Yeah. Well, you know, in the '90s there were like ska bands, right?
Yeah, I'm very aware of ska bands.
Well, that happened.
Yeah, that's
the
okay.
thing.
I see what you're saying.
A thing occurred.
Yeah.
And it did.
And then you got you were like,
so
I'm
it was
gonna
like
do
swing
this
band.
swing dancing
Yeah.
thing.
So I did that for just socially. It was just a thing. It was those people dancing.
But you turned it into a monetary gain.
Well, I mean, I was doing it, and then you know, it was like, but I mean, like, you know, there's like a trivia night,
Yeah.
and you could go participate in a trivia night, right?
So you just did swing dance
And
nights?
then but you could go participate every week. You get
Absolutely.
your teams together, right? You do that for a little while,
Yeah.
and then your trivia night shuts down, and then you're like in your small town or whatever you're in, and you go, hey, we need a trivia night. Hey, Brennan, you want to host trivia night? Now you're trivia night host.
Okay, yeah.
You were just going out to trivia night.
Yeah,
all of a
now
sudden,
all of a
somehow
sudden-
you're hosting trivia night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hosting karaoke, whatever it is. So I'm just teaching the introductory swing dance lesson at the club where we were swing dancing. So it's
okay.
like I took that lesson
Yeah.
2 years ago, and now teach
Now
that
you're
lesson.
teaching it, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do that, and then you know, yeah, I got to be pretty good at that, and did that. I mean, that became like. I mean, I was teaching it, but I was also performing it. It was the same as comedy,
Yeah.
I guess minus the teaching, not really teaching. But you could,
Yeah.
you know, like it's more of a, all these activities that I participate in are very street oriented activities. They seem nerdy in a lot of way, like if somebody was listening to this, but I mean, it's street oriented.
Mhm.
Like if it was breakdancing, if it was skateboarding, whatever it is, it's homegrown stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
bluegrass.
Yeah. So it's not like, you know, there's like ballroom dancing. It's not that.
It's
you
not
know?
that, yeah.
And then, so I mean, the way we do comedy, the way I do music, like, so I wasn't like a musician in school doing it that way. It's not how I did it either. But these are all related. I'm getting better at these in some way all the time,
Yeah.
you know? And I did that, I mean, at least 10 years, like really, really heavy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was a main
Can you
thing.
still dance?
I haven't forgotten anything. Like I can,
Well, I'm assuming you're a little bit bigger now.
yeah, it's terrible. I can do anything I used to be able to do for 30 seconds. You know what I mean? The things I could do for 3 hours. I could now do for 30 seconds and then have to take some ibuprofen aggressively, you know, and then,
Rest for a while.
yeah. But yes, I could do a thing.
Like
whatever,
gun to your head, you could.
yeah, whatever thing you need me to do that I maybe used to do, I probably could do it. Yeah.
So what happens after swing dancing for a decade? I'm curious to know how you got into transition into comedy.
Well, you said it earlier. You remember earlier when you just said everybody else figured out shit, and then I
Yeah.
got old and then didn't figure. So that's how I got into it. Time passed,
And then you were like this.
failed, you know, or
Well, because I know you've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on stage or if when you and I were talking at like a jam sesh or something. But you were like, yeah, I just like kept trying things, and I don't know if you said they weren't working out or you just kept trying to move on to different things, and that's eventually how you found comedy.
that's how I whittled down from
President.
you know any of that.
Yeah.
Any hierarchical, you know, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, all the way down to the bottom level. The bottom level here is music, dance, comedy. These are all things that are good and don't hurt anybody.
Yeah. Well,
That's
some
it.
of your jokes hurt people, but
Well, no, not really.
I'm kidding.
You know, but I mean, I'm saying I've never not believed in those things.
Yeah.
Those things, when have those things when do
Let
they
you
let you
down,
down
yeah,
and
yeah.
fail you and disappoint people and ruin lives? I was like, so it's like I'm not making any money or anything. I'm not accomplishing whatever, you know, whatever, you know, the system and protocol says, you know, how I should have done it or
Yeah.
whatever. But it, like, yeah. So I mean, these are all good things. They're
So-
why you do it.
Yeah.
You
that's
go,
true.
oh, this seems like it would bring more joy
Yeah.
than the soul sucking other thing
That-
that it seems to be. Every, you know, that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% right.
You know,
How did you so when did you start doing comedy?
well, it's not deeper than that. Is the petty part? Is like you're like, okay, so why? That's it, buddy.
No, I know, but
no, I
Well,
just mean like when you were talking about procedural
Yeah,
qualities
yeah.
and like how you got to here, and they go, no, this is all that's important in life. The rest of this minutia is just to keep a podcast going. This is what it's about. Love each other. Love.
That's all it's about.
Yeah, but when people reach that point in their life and they're like, it's all about love, and I just wish it's all about the people of the crowd. Old people when they're like, letting you know,
when they get to that point,
they're right. They're
right.
not wrong at all.
They're 100%.
And then when they get done talking, you're like, yeah, fuck you, old man.
Shut
I'm going to
the
go
fuck up,
fucking
yeah.
do something fun or whatever.
Yeah.
But they are right. 100% right.
Absolutely. When did you?
Oh, comedy?
Yeah. When did you start? Like, did you do an open mic? Were you obviously grown up in Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken?
All right, let me see where I got. Let me skip do the rest of the thing here. So I swing dancing then. I was playing some music again. And I was into some bands, and those become professional. Gigs.
Yeah.
Gig working. And I just did that. So just basically like at least a whole decade of like just getting by music and dance.
Okay.
Just cruising through that.
Yeah.
And then, bands broke up, got old, maybe, I don't know, dancing, whatever. Times change, whatever. And comedy, I guess. It's another one of those things.
Yeah.
Right? And what I guess it's like it's weird because I don't believe in like the narratives. Like where do your ideas come from?
Yeah.
And how'd you get started? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't believe in them in and of themselves. I don't like when I listen to another podcast of how the I guess listening to your other podcasts, and there are people telling how they got started. I'm like, I don't give a fuck how this kid got started. This is irrelevant. This is so irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. Not to hate anybody, but I'm just going like, listen. I'm like, hey, you remember the first time you had sex?
Yes, I do.
You're gonna remember it forever.
Yes,
everybody does.
Yeah,
everybody remembers that. Okay, was it
terrible experience?
Yeah. And then now. Does it play a lot into all the sex you have?
No, not at all.
Not at all. None whatsoever.
Not at all.
So the first time you did comedy, it's the first time you did comedy. And then what?
But see, I hear
time you held a fret on a guitar. You think I pick up a guitar now and I'm like, the first time I held a fret.
But it's interesting because you were so
wonder.
old when you started.
Yeah, but you know how things work in life to the point where nothing fucking matters.
That's true.
So you're going like, I'm gonna. It's like you ever listen to old people talk about their dreams? Like are old people and they had kids and then they're like, I always wanted to play the banjo.
Yeah.
And then that guy,
my grandfather used to always say, I could have been somebody.
Yeah.
I could have been a star.
And then 10 minutes later, he has completely forgotten about that and dismissed it as much as he has dismissed it the entire rest of his life up until that point.
Yeah, that's true.
So his desire to do it is always there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his ability to dismiss it as for fear of success, or fear of failure, any version of he doesn't want to be bad at it, whatever it is, they can do it or not do it. So you just do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
And then when they're like, but why did you do it? And we do that. We're on the podcast talking about
that's
things.
what we do, yeah.
But I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the why so much.
See, that's interesting you would say that because I think the why has so much to do with the style of comedy that you pursue, why you continue to... You've been in the scene longer than I have.
You see what you just said was, you said because you picture somebody saying, having meaning,
yeah,
I want to do this, and thus I did do that.
Yeah.
And yet we're talking about old man who's like, I want to do this, and guess what he did?
Never did
Not
it.
did it.
Yeah, not did it.
Yeah, right?
Not
and then he went and did something else. That other thing that he went and did instead, you can have him on the podcast, ask him about that, and then he'll be like, well, I worked my way into the... that's when I was in the Navy, and
then all of a sudden I was in a machine shop, and then I worked.
And
my
he
way
never
up.
brings up the goddamn banjo or whatever the fuck he
Yeah.
wanted to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we pretend that the other thing was what he wanted to do.
But it's not.
I don't. Maybe to some extent.
Yeah.
Some here, some there, right? You go like, so I mean, like there was a girl. You'd be like, I love this girl. This is the love of my life. And then later you're just like, she's not.
She's not.
I guess what does that mean? I mean, it means, yeah, you know. So, I mean,
she's buried in the backyard somewhere. Come on.
But
you've heard
does
my
it
comedy.
mean something? Does it mean something? It means something, right? Serendipitously.
Yeah.
That led you. This is the broken road that led me to, right? That's what it is. That's
I like to believe in that kind of stuff.
I know. I'm saying I am that. I'm from that.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're
And
saying.
all the roads are broken.
And now you're here.
On another broken road. Like all the broken roads lead you to yet another broken road. And I was like, so that's where I'm at with the nihilism that goes with the, like, it's not, but I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm disappointed in it. I mean, I'm sure 100% in, you know, all of that aspect of life, but I'm not surprised either. Like it looks like, so like I teach an old man banjo. Right? He's like, oh, I wanted to play it. And I'm like, well, he's going to quit in 3 weeks. Yeah. And I'm telling him not to. I'm like, dude, you got it. There's nothing preventing you from doing this. There's no physical hindrances. You seem to get it. You know what I mean? And in his head, he's like, I don't know if I
really?
Yeah. They all adults crush their own. They can't, there's something about the way it represents a spot. They can't in their life. They can't have it broken. You know,
see,
it's almost like, you know, when the team wins the championship, they're like college team, and now there's nobody to hate because they're the winners. Yeah. Oh, what? It's like I gotta hate, you know. So it's different. It's like you did it, but it's like a release, and so they need that like challenge or something,
because once you figure it out or once you do it, it's not driving you anymore because you've done it.
Yeah. So something else is. Yeah, there's something else in there, you know. If you're doing it for,
if you continue to do it, yeah,
as opposed to the first thing.
Well, because there's we see this all the time. Is there's people who go up at Rain Dogs. This is my first time doing comedy. Then they do it, and they're like, all right, cool, I did it, and then they just never come back. Yeah, and it's like that's not how this. I didn't think that's how this worked.
Yeah, I do my serendipity or my like kind of you know, hey, I was chosen to do this or whatever, is just from what I do well. Yeah. Like, so I'd be like, hey, I have something to offer this. And then why would I not do the activities where I have something to offer? Yeah. So you'd be like, oh, why don't you go to this place and contribute this, go to the soup kitchen and do the, I was like, because I'm bad at it.
But you're good at this.
I'm good at a few things. I'm good at some things.
Swing dancing,
not even
comedy.
Not even that good. I have a thing to offer in those areas.
Okay.
That somebody else might not offer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it's true because you do offer something unique when it comes to your stand-up. Yeah, I mean, at least I think it's unique.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that about each of the things. Yeah. So all of the things I feel.
Well, I've never seen you swing dance.
Yeah. But even if you did, regardless of the actual performance, I can teach it in a way that can help people that might not be able to do it.
See, and I appreciate that because that's exactly.
I was not good at these things,
and now you're.
No. This is. I don't. Like I said, this is why, you know, when you're talking about where the ideas come from, inspiration, serendipity, all these things. My stuff comes from the debate. Yeah. So I developed like critical thinking skills and a certain way of breaking things down. And I applied that to all of the activities. Okay. So for a person who's like kind of almost tone deaf, I used like music theory and then broke certain things down and then was able to find a way around it. Okay. You know, and then like dancing, wasn't a dancer. I didn't have any kind of physical, you know what I mean?
Dancing,
like, thing like that. But I figured out something, you know, I mean, like I said, if it was like breakdancing and you saw somebody pull some shit off like a gymnast and they're doing the flares, you know, and then turn it into the windmill or something like that. And you go, well, this guy showed up with some shit that somebody else can't figure out, you know what I mean? And that's all it was. It was just, you know, street built stuff, and comedy's been that the whole time. That's what it is. I mean, to us in America, like, I mean, how it was built, I think, you know, like, but I also like the guys that are born natural to do it, like old school style, from the slapstick and the, you know what I mean, set up punch, you know, and the guys that are born of just comedy, like of whatever humor, they just breathe it.
Yeah.
Those guys, those guys are pure comedy. What do I have to offer to them?
Yeah, you can't.
That's what they are.
Yeah,
they
that's what
already
they do.
are perfect
They are
examples
the thing. Yeah.
of the actual thing. So I'm an alternative to come up with an idea, to come at it a different angle. And the people that did that actually became the normal comedy. Like Lenny Bruce made it change, and then they kept making it change. Yeah.
Lenny Bruce is my favorite.
Yeah. Is he really?
Yeah. I've got 3 of his books.
Yeah.
I've watched the documentaries on him. He's one of my favorite because of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Was the change into, well, I'm going to, instead of doing the slapsticky, like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
I'm going to find a topic
Yeah.
that I might disagree with, and I'm going to break it down to show you why I don't agree with it. And by the end of it, you're going to be laughing about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a really good line in the book. It was I think it was his English teacher. They're cross-examining an English teacher about the word cocksucker because he was arrested for saying the word cocksucker.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever read anything about this trial, but they bring this English professor up there to break it all down. Basically, the English professor says, they're like, is this something you can joke about? And the English professor's argument was, well, some of the worst things in life you have to joke about because you can only get through those things with humor. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's what Mr. Bruce is trying to show us.
Yeah.
And like that, I was like, that's exactly what you're saying. Like going above, doing something unique is why I was so fascinated by him.
What bothers me about that is that seems not deep to me.
Oh, really?
That seems deep because you juxtapose it against a pure comedy soul.
Yeah.
Right? You just take like a Robin Williams or somebody, or put whatever it is. And
Chris Farley, Robin Williams. Yeah.
And you put that next to it, so it seems deep. I go, what you just said is like, yeah, that's how we deal with everything in life already.
Yeah.
It's like at funeral and they're like levity. You're just basically talking about basic levity brought to any situation that is like, hey, we're all the situations we live in.
But you have to understand that's not how everyone views life.
I mean, that's how they live.
How many times have you been told you can't joke about that?
Oh, yeah. I don't hang out with any of those people. Those
yeah,
people
that's what I'm saying.
But those people are like irrelevant people. I'm a snob. Like, I don't like those people.
Yeah, I hate those people.
Yeah. So I'm
saying, most pretentious.
Yeah. So I wouldn't ask their opinion on jack shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh man, wonder what you think comedy, is, or whatever. Like, right? Yeah. And they'd be right. They would still be right. Like, they'll just be like, oh, Chris Farley doing that. I mean, you are correct.
Yeah.
I was like, so if everybody laughs at this thing, I go, okay, I'm not trying to deny that thing. That thing's funny.
Oh, sometimes I try to deny it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. What are you? You're sitting around looking at pies in the face, being like, this pie.
No,
fuck
like
this pie. This pie's not smart
people
enough.
Fucking say certain things, and I'm like, a lot of times in the back of the room, I'll be like, "Don't laugh at that! Like, what are you doing?"
Oh yeah. Yep. No. You got a person on stage who's saying some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like bullshit. When I say bullshit, I'm saying snobby shit that I don't like because of whatever. And then there's people in the audience that you're saying are laughing at it because they're. And I was like, those are just the same people.
Yeah.
They're just
That's
more
why
people that I.
Yeah,
I don't like those people either.
Yeah, because when people do some of that low hanging stuff, I'm like, like, what? Come on, guys.
And when I say I don't like them, I don't mean like be like it's people in life in the world. I don't care about them at all. I'm indifferent. I don't have any judgment of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time.
Except in this context where we're participating in something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They just want to be like, why can't we all just have fun? Everything's fun is fun, right? If we're laughing, it's fun, right? And then people drinking, and they're like, we're just partying and having fun. A lot of the times people, when people are like, oh, do you like, we're partying.
Yeah.
I'd be like, nobody's doing anything except saying that we're partying.
That's not, yeah.
Have you ever seen how much partying
just
are
saying
just
it doesn't make it so.
Or just being, well, no, but they're just, even when there are, whatever they think is partying.
It's
the
a bunch of people
is the partying.
That's the partying. Yeah.
And I'm standing over here not drinking, going like, so is there another thing? Y'all got like a sweet, where's the party machine? Like flip the machine on and it like starts cranking out milkshakes and fucking, you know what I mean? Whatever other thing. Like if you were like, hey, we're at a party and it was Chuck E. Cheese and there's like a ball pit.
That makes sense.
That's a fucking party.
That's a party.
That was a party.
But
there's a pizza. There's pizza coming. They're just bringing it out to your table, cafeteria style. Then you go jump in a ball pit and you watch fucking animatronic
mice.
That's a fucking party.
But sitting around 4 people on a couch doing
Talking
shots.
about how they used to party when they were kids is what they're You remember when we were at Chuck E. Cheese? Oh, shit. That was, we were partying the fuck out, right?
I just spilled water on
I felt
myself.
like that at every party I've ever been to in my whole life. Like, I've never gotten it. I've never understood it on any level. You know, it's
now that we're breaking it down like that,
it's
like
very,
you said, finding a thing and breaking it down.
Well, you've actually tapped into something that I've clearly been holding this in.
Yeah,
I've been like,
I'm pretty good at this hosting thing, man.
Yeah.
You have traveled around the whole country doing comedy, though. I want to know.
It's weird when you say that,
but you have.
I've traveled. I mean, the whole country's big. That's a big place. But I mean, sure, I've traveled.
Performed.
I've traveled some places. Yeah. I've gone around.
What? I know you've worked with. I don't know if you want.
No, it's the name drop time.
No,
is that what we're doing? We're coming in heavy on the name dropping.
We won't do that. But it was interesting about
the
whole
dogs. Worked with all the big dogs.
You have worked with some big dogs.
Listen, also, anybody who is comedy, there's different types of working with people, all right? You open for people because you just happen to be at the same place. You can be at a
Those are
festival.
my big names. That's because I happen to be there.
Okay, I happen to be just in the audience watching.
Well, you
them.
remember the Dusty Slay thing?
Huh?
You were at that show.
But what?
At Maggiano's.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in my hiatus from comedy, I hadn't been doing comedy, but I was still telling everyone I did comedy. Mm-hmm. And they were doing a comedy night, and they booked Dusty, and you showed up.
Yeah.
And then my manager came up. He's like, "Hey, you do comedy, right?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't done it in a while." And this is when I was still drinking. He's like, "Well, Dusty didn't bring an opener. It's just him and his wife. So can you do 5 up front?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I've told the story before on the podcast, but it was one of the most gut-wrenching moments when I came off stage and Dusty pointed at his phone and he goes, "I told you to do 5." And it said 3:27.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, sorry, man." Because I hadn't done comedy in almost 2.5 years at that point. And I didn't remember any of my old stuff, and I was wasted all the time. And I just remember I got up there and I was like, "Oh, well, my boss is here." 2 of my managers were in the audience, and I was like, "Well, I can't do any of my like talking about having sex with like a transsexual. I can't talk about any of that at work."
Yeah.
So I was like, there goes half my material. So I did it like a Christopher Walken impression for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
It was the fucking worst.
It was a terrible idea to even
But
do it.
I still now have on my VPK open for Dusty Slay.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
There you go, man.
But then there's other versions like you're talking about where comics will actually ask for you to come with them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things where none of this means anything. The credits don't mean it. Even the things that mean things don't mean anything anymore. Nobody knows.
Well, and that's I don't know how you feel about it, but it's frustrating because there are certain things that I see.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes, it is frustrating. Yeah.
But I mean, I've got no ill will towards people like, to quote I don't know, whatever the fucking kids are saying, like, do you, but I do get mad when I see certain things that blow up and I'm like, that? Like, out of all the things we could try to say, that's what's happening.
No, but here's the thing. Comedy is that.
Yeah.
Comedy's the other thing. Don't forget that it's not the Lenny Bruce.
It's not.
It's the other thing.
It's the Chris
And Lenny Bruce is bringing an alternate thing.
Yeah.
In.
What was so weird
when alternate? I don't want to.
Yeah, it's not all, but a different thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's interesting because
it's heartbreaking. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does because I look at some of, and obviously you're light years ahead of me, but I look at some of my material and I think
light years.
This is
just remember that, everybody. Light years.
It's on tape, man. It's on wax.
Don't you forget it.
But there are certain bits that I have that mean a lot to me because they're personal, but I also think they're very funny. And when I do those bits and they don't play, it's like it's like world shattering. It's like how is no one getting this? Because it's a very vulnerable state to be in because those are things that actually mean something to me.
Yeah.
But like if I went up there and just humped a stool, it's like, yeah, if you don't laugh, who gives a shit? Like this is nothing. But for me, it's painful because the things I talk about on stage come from a place of personal experience. So when they don't work, I'm like, am I just not funny?
I mean,
or is this
no? I mean, you're in a spot where there is no option. You cannot take yourself too seriously on stage.
Yeah,
on stage.
that's true.
I mean, you just can't. There's no other way. You can do tons of variants of how you don't take yourself too seriously.
But you
can
can't.
be vulnerable. It's not that you can't be vulnerable, but you can't also forget that it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That there's a ton of bullshit in just the whole, like, it's fun. You don't, even if you're not the funnest, right? You're not the most fun. You can't stop them from having fun. You can't take the fun from them and exit it from their lives.
That's a very egotistical thing of me to think. Like, I can ruin everybody's entire night with my 5 minutes.
Yeah, with trying to bring in, like, I mean, there are ways to get it to them, to get whatever you're trying to get to them. There are definitely ways. I don't want to say I don't get upset, but I don't think it's the content. Like, people are like, why didn't that work? It worked the other night. I go, because you did something different.
Yeah.
They go, what'd you do different? I don't know, and I don't care. That's your fucking problem.
You don't think it's the content? Because I think there are certain rooms where talking about certain things just doesn't play, and then there's other, like, rowdy rooms, like, you can talk about cops and DUIs and getting arrested, and they love it. But then I've been in rooms where, like, I bring that stuff up, and it's totally unrelatable because no one's ever been in a situation like that.
Yeah, but that's different.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The entire thing is different. Like, you're trying to, like, a lot of, not you, I want to say you, but I'm saying, like, people are trying to go, people are trying to go, no, it's not different. I said all the same lines, and I said it this way and that way. I was like, the mic wasn't even plugged in to fucking, or some shit.
But
like,
it is different. Yeah,
everything's different.
Yeah.
There's no controlled experiments at all.
Yeah.
There's zero controlled experiments.
Because you never know who's,
every single one is completely different. So then
that's why I love it.
But every time I watch the video or something, I go, oh, yeah, it was me. 100%. It was always me.
Yeah.
Right? And then even if it's them,
it's still you.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't figure out them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I say. Yeah. I get so frustrated when people go
snobby, where I go, oh, I don't want to figure out pieces of shit. You know what I mean?
I say it all the time on the show. Kyle Kinane says, I don't need all of you. I just need enough to fill a room.
Yeah. But you get whatever room on that day, if that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Or you just don't do the show.
So
or
that's
you don't
interesting.
Go up or whatever. I don't,
you just don't do the show.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, you can just,
You just look out at the audience, you're like, fuck this crowd.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways.
Have you really?
I mean, I don't know. It just depends. Like, you see, what you have to understand is are you doing a gig? Are you talking about agreed responsibility?
Yeah, have you ever been booked on a show where you're getting paid and you look down and you're like, nah, fuck this?
No. Okay. I don't think so.
That would be an epic Chris Buck story.
Well, but you don't do that anyway. You do that Andy Kaufman shit or whatever, where you just read the phone book or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I mean, like, because you're doing a gig, you have to do the time.
Well, that's what Charge and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was like, you learn that you're not doing, they don't care about the comedy, they care about you filling the time.
Well, somebody cares about you doing the comedy, and somebody cares about you filling the time, and somebody cares about writing that off for their company on a tax write-off so that you did the time for their benefit. Like, everybody has some motive that's different. But one thing they can't do is they can't take it from you. Like, if you're at work and you're not filling out whatever the TPS reports, office space, whatever that shit is, the report is right there. You have a hand. Your hand writes. You know the language, right? You pick up a pen, you fill out the report.
Yeah.
You're not filling out the report. They're like, listen, Brennan, you didn't fill out the fucking report. You're fucking fired.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, nobody knows what the ingredients are.
Yeah,
no regular person who books you.
Yeah.
I mean, comics don't even know.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure it out. They're going, I don't know why this didn't work tonight. They can't all figure it out. So who the fuck this guy who's an administrative assistant or some shit that booked you, you know what I mean? Whatever a company booked you or something for a gig. And then you're there and then you go up there and bomb. And they're like, why'd you bomb? And you go, I don't know, man. Magic. This is weird. You know what I mean? The sorcery didn't kick in tonight. And then what do? What are they going to drag it out of you? What are they going to do?
Yeah, you can't.
There's nothing. And you said words. You said all the words, potentially, right? You don't even have to say words. You go up there and Mr. Bean that shit or whatever the fuck. Charlie Chaplin, fucking play mimes and, go up there and do whatever. They can't say that it wasn't an attempt at what you were planning on doing. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no ability, but they think they have it contained. They think they have it contained.
They
on
think
the
they
books.
know, yeah.
No, just on the books.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I wrote it. I'm going to write a check to the guy. The guy did show up. We gave him his dinner. He's about to go up. They think because the procedures are in place, we have a microphone. It's plugged in. There's the stage. That thus,
comedy
you
will
will do. Yeah, it will ensue, and you. So they pretend it. They pretend it's like a tangible thing that they can do, and that's all arts, like you were saying, all the arts of some sort, and being the fact that I'm kind of a teacher person, you can kind of teach even if it's not. That's those who can't, those, I mean, I teach. If I teach, I'm teaching. I don't have to shred guitar at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can like just get by teaching. You can just get by teaching, telling somebody about comedy rather than doing comedy.
Than actually doing comedy.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense because we
not-
see that all the time.
I mean, but for what?
is there,
I'm saying,
is there anyone in particular you would like to call out?
No, that's me.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying as a job. I'm saying I'm doing these jobs instead of going.
Well, because you don't teach comedy, you don't do comedy classes, you don't do any of that.
Not formally, not formally, but
I'm
saying that's what but that's how I do. That's how
that is how you approach it. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we don't have stage time enough to get up on stage and do all of the attempts, then what do you do? I don't know. Go to fucking, Whataburger and eat, or fucking think about comedy some more.
Yeah.
Or write. So you write some more. You get together with a crew and talk shop. That's
try and work it out.
That's the same
That's
shit.
what we're doing right now, man.
Yeah, you like podcast. You're like, I'm gonna stage time, start a podcast.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So I'm saying that. So if you don't have you're not like, hey, this is my Chris Farley. I'm on stage doing a cartwheel. You don't have that moment to express or to get out there to exercise whatever comedic, ideas you have coming out. Like we're just grabbing all these other things, And if you can find a medium that is good for you, so that's when like people are Instagram. It's not like I'm not jealous ever of people. Well, I don't want to say that. That's not true. I'm not jealous. I'm not like of the people on Instagram or something like that, or on an outlet, or if it was TikTok or whatever, or OnlyFans. I don't like the medium for what I'm interested in. Like I don't like it for me.
Yeah.
So it's like I watch a video and be like, oh, this guy's killing it, what he's doing. And it's unfortunate that this medium does not lend to what I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the thing I like would probably, actually, the more I got into this, or not into this, but talked to some comics, albums were like better. It seems like albums are better. Like comedy albums, just audio. Like they're I don't want to say they're more pure, but they're like, I think stripping away the visual.
You're talking about doing just purely audio, not like a special on Netflix where you watch it.
I think don't get me wrong. It's like a movie versus a book or something like that, where somebody's like, there's a visual component that can add to it, but if there wasn't, it's like there's no like identity. There's no visual identity politics. Mm-hmm. Like not identity politics, but I'm saying like you're like, hey, I know what I look like, and all this kind of shit.
That's all out the window. That's all.
Yeah, it just dissipates, and nobody. There's not like a pressure there somehow. Even if it was live, even if that's how it was live to some extent, there's something about the audio that's just seems free in a way. I don't know. It's just something that I've noticed.
When are you gonna put out an album?
I mean, what kind of, what? That's a real question.
You've got hours and hours of material.
Yeah, I'm not good at it. Like,
it's funny.
Yeah, but okay. So
we could set it up. We'll book Rain Dogs. We'll fill it with 100 vaxxed people. I'll open.
Yeah. No, okay. Like, I mean, this is just a whole. You're opening a whole can of worms
again.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, that's not like. I mean, we answer that, but what's the? I mean, we talk about that, but let's not talk about it. Right? Not yet. I mean, that's
okay. We'll save that for the next episode.
No, I mean that's just now we're just going to start planning something and talk about the plans of it and the
that's
the
true.
problems.
No, you're
with
right.
it and how it sets up, and it's just become. And then I'm going to get sad because of, like, so I make other people sad.
Yeah, you
bring
do.
it, right? But then y'all are that's because y'all are failing to make me happy.
Okay.
You see what I'm
Understood.
saying? When you're watching a movie and the production values aren't that great,
Yeah.
I'm like, get me in, make me suspend disbelief, and the movie's failing. People go, oh, it's still a good movie. I'm like, you fucking,
You idiots.
yeah.
All
No,
of
it's
you.
not my fault that I'm a snob and I have high standards.
You do. You have
That's it.
incredibly high standards.
You know.
We've told the story.
You would think they're incredibly high, but I mean, what? How?
Well, I mean, what
how
is it? It's a
fucking high are they?
It's
really?
a standard. No, you're right. It's a
You know?
standard.
Like, when you're thinking about comedy and you go, listen, I want good comedy or something like that. Like, what would be an example of some good comedy where you go, this is absolutely good?
What do you
Absolutely.
mean? Like what comic I really like?
So I'm saying, like, we're talking about these ones, all this stuff that's out in the
Yeah.
world the way it is. But I'm saying, what is an undeniable comic? Like, who's
Bill Burr.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
Really? You rescued it? Did you jump into the river with your wingtips on? Boom.
Chris Rock in the 90s
Yeah.
is
I'm not going to do that voice.
ridiculous. Huh?
I'm not going to do that voice.
I don't even know that'd be an impression that would be offensive. No, I think Chris Rock is just Chris Rock.
Yeah. He's
I don't
great.
think, you know what I mean?
Old Chris Rock in the 90s?
Yeah.
Aggressive. Love it.
Yeah. Well, but I don't mean the aggression or anything.
No,
I
that's
just
just-
mean it's undeniable on all the levels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think so. I think it is. I think it's amazing. But when I looked at it, I go, these are great ideas.
hmm
Everybody, hey, go get to working on some fucking great ideas. I don't know. I mean, it's not rocket science.
No, it's not. But that's the thing is like,
It's not right.
there's things that, like we were just talking about earlier, there's ideas that I have and I go, this is hilarious to me. And then I do it and it's like, that's not hilarious.
What do you mean?
Like,
It's hilarious to you?
yeah, like a
It is
premise.
hilarious.
Okay.
Then it is.
But what I'm saying
That's
is like
it.
a
There's no
premise
more.
that I have.
It's hilarious. I believe in that shit.
Okay.
It's real.
That's what I try to do. That's why I
it.
continue to do the material that
No,
I do.
You go on stage and then fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But I'm not
That's more what
denying
we're
the
talking
purity of a gem of
Yeah.
whatever you think. I'm saying it is in there.
Yeah.
If you're laughing at some shit, it's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
what it's used for and what you translate that to and get on stage. But it's in there.
yeah.
I wouldn't let a fucking crowd or one motherfucker ever make me doubt in that shit. Don't ever. Like,
Yeah.
why? It already listen. Nobody did you hear me talk about the McDonald's story with the
Yeah,
girls
I was
last
in the
night?
room, yeah.
It's
You were
one of-
talking to me.
one
I
of-
was the only one
It's one of the
listening.
funniest things I've ever seen.
It was
I was
crazy.
there, and I can't translate it to anybody. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was like a work of art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only I get to see it or something. It was amazing. So, I mean, I don't know what do you think, some fucking crowd? Because I don't explain it right. That one time I was trying to tell it on stage, that's going to take away from the beauty that I saw.
No,
I
that's true. Yeah.
tears in my eyes from the glory of that story, like what happened. It was beautiful. And like just because so I never had those cats, like if Chris Rock has that ability, he has the ability to like either rehearse it, summon it from his brain, summon it from his gut, his comedic spirit, and put it and just propel that shit forth.
Yeah.
Into you, and the whole room gets it, and the room becomes electric, and they're like feeding off it together, and then the next idea comes in a way that's fluent off of the last idea, to where the last idea and the ones before all created like just surfing a wave, like rolling through this pipeline.
Yeah.
And it's like everything the person he's saying is coming out and keeping the next thing going, and it takes people that maybe they have a hard time understanding the next idea. If they didn't, the crowd becomes smarter.
Yeah.
Like
because
they're
everyone's
like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone's with
I
each
hear
other,
every
yeah.
phrase, every syllable of what he's doing. I was like, well, okay, so you go up and you can't do that? I was like, yeah, that's how
That's
life
how it
works. Yes, you are correct. I can't go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
there's an autistic kid who just like listen to some Bach fucking symphony and then plays it immediately. And I was like, well, I can't do that. I do a different thing, And if it's funny, that I mean, completely independent of him, you can just watch a video of some shit that happened a cat did.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious. But it's not a skill.
It's not.
It's a occurrence. You know?
Yeah.
So a mountain is beautiful, and then some painting that somebody painted of a mountain is beautiful, but this is skill, and the mountain is just is the
that was like
They're like, God is the artist of the mountain.
Zach posted
Well,
something really funny.
I'm like, great.
Zach Bennett, who's been on the show, friend of the show, posted something funny. He goes, I can't wait until they start booking these people who went viral on the internet, just so they can try to fall on stage for 30 minutes the same way they fell that made them go viral or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's...
Oh, trying to recreate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
it's, there's an occurrence that can, blow up, but then there's also a skill. And some of these people don't have the skill.
But the problem with that is that presumes they have to operate within the parameters of, like, say, a stage show based on stand-up.
Have you ever seen...
They just won't do it.
That's true. But have you ever seen these...
They'll just have a party.
Yeah.
Well,
everyone will just sit around and talk about how we're partying.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd be like, justice is coming. And then they just flip it around. And you're like, oh, great.
Have you ever seen one of those shows? I've never been privy to that, where it's like a YouTube star. Or like
yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen ones where, like, a guy that's, like, got some kind of stand-up up.
Yeah.
Like a clip or something.
Yeah.
And then he brings, like, 3 friends to do, like, 15, 20 minutes in front of him. They do, like, it does an hour.
Yeah.
And then he, like, closes it out with, like, the last 20 minutes. Like, with, like,
with, like, a...
Well, just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just whatever meet and greet, like, mixture of name-dropping meet and greet stories with celebrities.
Oh, wow.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of thing or something like that, You see, like, when Chris Kattan, like, I didn't mean, like, from the Instagram ones. I just meant, like, there's a lot, his openers do a lot more time.
Yeah,
on average than some others.
Yeah.
And he seems to, like, close it out with, like, a half hour.
Oh, wow.
Like, kind of celebrity,
stories, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, whatnot.
Yeah.
And they just want to meet Chris Kattan.
Yeah.
They just want to meet. They're like,
does that frustrate you to no end?
I mean, yeah, but only insofar as life does, because that's it. That's life.
But see, that kind of shit makes me so angry. Because I played sports my whole life.
Just be like, you're no fucking Lenny Bruce. You're no fucking Lenny Bruce.
But I played sports my whole life, so I was always under the impression that if you're good at something, you go and get better at that thing, and then you rise within that thing, within the structure of that thing.
Yes, there's a certain level of meritocracy. You would, sure.
Yeah.
But if you change the rules to any of those sports one fraction,
it's all
some other position, some other player suddenly moves to the top.
Yeah.
Like, somebody would get it. Like, if you just change, like, you change kick returns or some shit, you know what I mean? And, like, football, whatever it is, you just change a little bit, and some other person who's being marginalized, who has a skill that would light it up, right?
Yeah.
They
that
would all of a sudden, that person's relevant. That person's more relevant. So all these parameters, like, when you look at basketball and you go, like, if you really stripped it down, like, if you just make everybody 5'6", and now let Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues fucking obliterate them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I completely, yeah.
You'd be like, they're the best.
That's it.
That's the facts.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
oh, totally.
So you're like, oh, it's like, I mean, you'd be like, oh, Shaq was great. I guess, sure. I mean, he was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right? I mean, if you just got whatever skill...
But that's true, because I've seen it happen in football, where people have gone from a power running game to air raid to now we're just going to throw it all over the yard. So if you would have told somebody from the 80s and 90s, hey, this guy's, barely 6 feet tall, 170 pounds, but he's going to be one of the most electric wide receivers in the NFL, guys back then would be like, no, he's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he's going to die.
Yeah.
And now it's like you got people like Tyreek Hill, who's super fast, but he's not overly big. And it's he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But like you said, you change the parameters a little, and now all of a sudden it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, do I believe that there is, like, I mean, This is just a nature nurture versus genetics, adaptability, thing, like debate, where, I mean, like I said, there's some kid, like playing drums this way or whatever, it's unbelievable, or, hears music a certain way. And it's like, and then, you just move into some other category or some skill set, and like they can put on a show, or they can, and what can they do? Child actors, child stars, you know what I mean? Like Michael Jackson was a child star and then immediately an adult star.
Yeah.
I'm awkward now. And what, I mean, hits, 18 hits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When's that happen?
That never happens.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never happens, right? Usually they have to go away and come back or some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'd be like, this is the most amazing. So do I think Michael Jackson was amazing? I mean, absolutely fucking amazing, right? And then if you were to actually, that's how I would view it. I was growing up. I think, oh, it's amazing. But now I view it as a bigger picture. So you would go, oh, is he amazing at this? And I'm like, yeah, but I have a skill he does not have. And that is not fucking kids.
Yeah.
I'm really good at not fucking kids. I'm way better than him. And obliterate him and not fucking kids. You get what I'm saying? And that makes me, in my opinion, better. That's actually better.
That is better
than his moonwalk. It would impress so many more people in actuality if you were to be able to measure it. So there are traits. There are just actually, if you were to go, how do I think about it? I think I'm wonderful. I think I'm an amazing person. I think I'm the best. I just don't think any of that translates into money, or necessarily even
fame,
entertainment,
fortune,
or good show, or anything like that. You just I have other gifts to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Steve Irwin, he died, and you'd be like, he's a survival expert. Well, he did not.
He's not an expert.
No, because
one thing he was an expert
evolutionary am better than Steve Irwin, because I have something in my genetics that tells me not to fuck around with crocodiles and stingrays.
Yeah.
Right? And he doesn't have that trait. He doesn't have those genetics, those key genetics
that says
that keep
stay
you alive.
The fuck away. Yeah.
Exactly.
Survival. Yeah.
So I'm better. So when you wonder where my arrogance comes from, and I was like, yes, I feel I'm very, and that, and for all your listeners, your addicts, your your alcoholics and your addicts, that as well. I'm amazing
at not
being
Have you ever been drunk in your whole life?
Once.
One time.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Terrified you.
What? No, it was a joke. No, I was so disgusted with how everybody thought it was a big deal. Like I was 26, right? Mm-hmm. And they'd be like peer pressure, and they'd be like, first off, it's like I don't do that shit. So they'd be like, oh, peer pressure, oh, they're doing it. I was like, well, now I'm not doing it.
No, I'm definitely not doing it.
This is dumb as shit. You know what I mean? It's foolish. And then people keep doubling down on that, and it just seems you just look like so foolish. Like you're like 40 years old, and somebody's like, oh, the cool kids are doing. You're like, wow, you look pathetic. The person saying that to you looks pathetic, And so, and they think they actually think it's got like weight to it. And I was like, I was 26.
Yeah.
It was like I've already overcome this. You know what I mean? Like it's not a thing. So it's like, I'm like, here's what I think it is. Here's what I think it feels like. I've listened to every one of y'all's stories. I've watched, I've interpreted it.
Yeah.
Here's what it's like getting drunk. The party thing, when I was talking about the party, I'm looking around going like, yeah.
We're not doing anything.
So I'm looking
Where's
at
the
it.
party
I'm not
machine?
Impressed, right? And then I'm like, so, okay, all right, fine. I'm 26. It's like, I'm going to do it. So I just went and did it. I just went and got drunk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
what happened?
You know where Plush? You know where that was?
No.
I don't. It was Town and Country Shopping Center.
Okay, yeah.
Over there was like club. That was like a club.
You went to a club?
No, yeah, it was called Plush, but I'm saying it was called the Edge before that. Like it was a concert venue originally where I saw like Primus and Melvins there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like the Ramones there.
Damn, you saw the Ramones?
No, late Ramones.
Oh, okay.
Like 94. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
95, like Dead and the last part. And but I mean, it was a concert venue, and then it was like, oh, it was some dance.
Who'd you go with?
Club. I don't know. I think it was just me, and then I maybe met some people. I met like a friend up there.
Crazy.
Like that.
So you just showed up at 26,
yeah.
and you're like, I'm gonna get wasted by myself.
No way. I mean, I was throwing up later, you know? I mean, whatever that was, you know? It was just me doing shots of whiskey.
Ooh.
What? No, I mean, I didn't take that in a bad way. I mean, that was my choice.
No, but I'm saying that for the one and only time you're going to drink, that was your choice?
Like, what do you mean? Yeah, that was my choice.
Okay.
No, I mean, that was my preference.
Yeah.
Like the taste of whiskey was my preference in that situation.
Okay.
You know? So I just meant like, I don't like the taste of beer, so I don't like
I
drink
hate
it.
beer.
Okay, so I can do shots. I can do a shot. Like it's doable.
But see, that's
It's
what
not a problem.
Yeah, because it's just you don't.
People act. No, people act though. Like when you drink, like the whole idea when they're like, "Hell yeah, I did the shot." I'm like, "What was it? A fucking challenge? Was it a roller coaster you're right? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You swallowed a little bit of liquid that, I don't know. What's the big deal? If it was like, oh, I'm more impressed with dudes drinking beers.
Really?
Well, no. Like impressed, like Joey Chestnut Kobayashi.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like I was like, oh shit, we're doing a competition.
Yeah,
like,
we're going. Yeah,
but that's not like
some of those shots can be painful though.
No, I mean, but now you're not doing it for fun.
No,
now that's competition. If you want me to appreciate for the competition factor, I'll appreciate for the competition factor, and I will cheer on and be like, "This guy's fucking killing it." You know what I mean? If I saw somebody like trying to. It's like Doc Holliday, who's like, I'm drinking, and then I'll see if I can shoot this apple off your head.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I don't know. This sounds fun. That sounds like a party. But I'm saying, like, I need a thing, like a substance.
Yeah.
The competition can be the substance, right? But they'll just be like, oh, I'm pretending it's a competition, and then we're partying. And I was like, we're not partying.
You just keep saying we're partying.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? I don't need, so it's like, I need to be drunk, and then there's a show.
Yeah.
There's the show. Or I feel like I should do MDMA is what I think.
Okay.
Like I would need a thing. Like I would want to do like the things that I would think I should do is I think I should do mushrooms.
Have you ever done a lot of drugs?
No. None.
You've
Not really any.
Okay.
I mean, like things that are accidental from medical. You know,
Yeah.
like painkillers.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Saying like, but I don't really like but I need an activity that is an excursion of the activity is the thing.
Mushrooms. You'd love mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm positive I would, except for maybe I hear like, you know what I mean? The stomach.
Oh, yeah.
That might affect me.
Yeah.
I have some issues with that sometimes.
Okay.
So that would be my only concern. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my concern was spiraling into a deep, dark hole of anxiety.
For mushrooms.
Yeah.
Does it do that?
So apparently if you have bad... So basically this is how it was explained to me. I never did acid or mushrooms because I was always told if you're a naturally anxious or depressed person, it amplifies that. It brings it to the forefront. And that's exactly how it's been explained to me, was that it's not going to kill you, but if you'll like face whatever you're super anxious about, whatever you're super depressed about, like it'll come to the forefront and you'll have to face it.
Yeah.
So in a way it can be healing, but I'm too scared to go there. Plus I'm sober now, so I obviously wouldn't do it. But
See, and you associate those things.
yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah.
Like none of the activities, they'd be like, oh, I drink or this is so none of those affect me that way. Like I would never perceive one thing as having an effect on the other.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like it would be like, oh, I did this, so I'm not sober. Like none of that would affect me.
Yeah.
Like my, and this is where I was teasing with, you know, if you have, alcoholic listeners or addicted listeners.
A lot.
I'm
Almost
saying that
my entire listenership.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like aggressively bragging or being an
kidding.
asshole.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you're thinking.
No. I do have a lot of
ex-drinking
listeners
buddy
that.
thing.
Yeah. I have a lot of listeners that have written in, and you know, they just gotten sober.
Yeah.
Or they knew me when I was drinking and are shocked
Yeah.
that I'm sober and stuff. So yeah.
I certainly have a genetic predisposition to not be addicted to alcohol.
To not be addicted.
Yeah, like it doesn't do much to me.
See, and that's the strange thing is that we can travel in the same kind of circles, we can do the same kind of stuff, but you're just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But for me, like the second I touch it, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna throw everything away now.
Yeah.
And that's why it's people.
I
are
mean,
so
my
interesting.
instincts are to do what you also, and even everybody who has that problem wants to do, which is to be like, what's underneath psychologically that I need to deal with so that it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying an ideal world.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could conquer it that way straight on.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying I do that and I feel like I can do that. And I you being around me, if you're not I'm saying if you have a genuine addiction of anything,
Yeah.
at any point, being around me is both depressing to those people and also inspiring.
Yeah.
So if you can, some people would listen to me and be like, this motherfucker, this fucking bitch doesn't understand, doesn't really understand. But at the same time, I'm trying to also exhibit, that's why I didn't say a skill.
Yeah.
I said like a predisposition to it. And I mean, I would say, but it's, I'm big. Take that, add it together. I probably won't take in a lot of alcohol well.
Yeah.
So I would probably be resistant to drinking it sooner. Like I wouldn't like it would be the amount of liquid.
Yeah.
The amount of beers for me to get drunk,
it's a lot.
Would be annoying.
Yeah.
Right? Combine that with the money that I don't have, double annoying.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I actually get drunk, I'm uncomfortable, I'm broke, and I didn't get the party that I wanted.
The party that was
only
promised.
has to happen a couple of times before I'm like, this sucks for me.
Yeah.
Oh, not only for me. Somebody else having a great time.
Well, see,
I'm
and that's
over
the
here.
weird thing about it is
sucks
like
for me.
I would go out and buy a handle of booze, and then it's like, okay, now everything's like you can quiet the anxiety, you can quiet the like everything gets.
But I don't
quiet.
do that. Yeah, I don't.
But
do
see,
that.
you don't. Yeah, you don't.
I'm. You could say if I have it or not, and a lot of people would be like, I think that I act like I'm normal.
Yeah,
I do. I walk around as if I'm the baseline, right?
You're not the baseline.
I mean, but you understand how I do. But you see that I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm running this.
Yeah.
My standards are the standards. I'm a snob. I'm a fucking snob, and I'm right.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're watching this movie, and I'm like, this
This
whatever
sucks.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just say that sucks, and I'm not wrong that something else is better than it. Like if we're watching a movie, and I'm like, yeah, this movie isn't as good as what we could have fucking watched because there's the other option.
Yeah.
When we go watch both movies back to back, yeah, the other movies I picked is better.
Better. Yeah.
So I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Some people are like, oh, this comedy is good. I'm like, that's fucking good as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, not that they're in competition, but if you put them in competition, you know,
Life is competition.
yeah. So I'm just snobby. I'm elitist. I'm snobby. You know, whatever Philosopher King mentality, like old school Plato. That should rule.
Found the name of the episode,
you know?
The Philosopher King.
Oh, that's the
Damn, this is fun, man.
yeah. Oh, do we stop? Is that
Yeah,
how
we
is
do
that how
about
it
an
works?
hour and a half.
Yeah,
We're at
so
that time.
We have to stop. You want to just cut 2 episodes?
I mean, we could. We're gonna have you back.
Yeah. Okay.
We got to talk stories. That was good. We ended up working in the drinking thing. That was fun.
Yeah.
Then we got to talk. You got to name drop next time you come on.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk some stories. We talk trash about some celebs next time. Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Huh? We just talk shit on.
We'll bleep the names.
Huh? Yeah.
Do you have any? Just we won't get into it. We'll save it for next time. But just off the top of your head, do you have any like?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. I'm sure we can figure something out.
No, but I'm saying off the top of your head, like just thinking.
Like
do you have a story that you go?
You're just talking about bleeping names, and you're like, you want to name the names?
No.
Right now, like, what do you?
I don't want you to say anything but yes or no. What I'm asking you is, do you have a story that's like a go-to story in your head about like whenever you're talking shit about a celebrity that really fucked you over, or not even fucked you over?
I mean, sure. Yeah,
do you really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, the one's easy, and the one you already know one of them.
Oh yeah, I do.
But
check out it. That's special on Netflix.
Yeah,
I do know that one. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Please check out the Patreon, subscribe, rate, review. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today was Chris Buck. He won't plug his stuff, so I will. Follow him at Stouffer Buck. Come to Rain Dogs every Monday. Starts promptly. It's the sign says 9, but we normally start around 11. Rain Dogs off Park Street. That's Chris Buck's show. Check out his. Do you have a website? Where do you put your dates?
I don't know. Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter,
Check
Twitter.
him out on Instagram at Stouffer Buck. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
My
Brennan,
Twitter's good. I got a good Twitter.
Oh, you do have a good Twitter. Is that Stouffer Buck too?
Yeah.
Okay. At Stouffer Buck everywhere. Your Twitter is pretty fucking hilarious. You got retweeted by Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah, that was just stupid though. That was.
I mean,
that
he
was like a setup.
Yeah,
You know.
Still, you got retweeted by Kevin Hart.
You know, that's how you get retweeted, right? You just say whatever you want, but then compliment somebody in there.
Yeah, and then they'll throw it up.
What did I write?
Something about his album.
Huh?
Or not his album, his
Oh,
special.
I said his album was almost. I said his album was. I said check out Kevin Hart's new special. It's almost as good as my stand up. You know, so he's like, and they were in promotion. They were promoting.
Yeah.
So they're like, retweet. We got to
Everything that-
retweet. And
yeah.
I'm like, that's right. You retweeted that I'm better than Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as me. And then they retweeted it. That's a confirmation.
Boom. Thank you again, everybody. Really appreciate it. Subscribe, rate, review at Brennan T Comedy. I've got dates coming up. Brantford, Gainesville, Orlando, South Florida. Check out the website, BrennanTComedy.com, for all the upcoming dates, and we will talk to you all next week. Nothing? Normally people end it by saying something. You know
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Thanks for having me on your show.
I hate you so
It's a great
much.
show.
All right, goodbye, everyone.